God bless you. Welcome to Prophetic Lifestyles with Bernard Bolton, where we are making the prophetic practical, bringing the prophetic into everyday life and creating the future by the choices that we make today, the things that we do today. Well, unfortunately, it's Saturday, not Friday. On Friday, we like to come on and talk about ministry and the marketplace, but today it's Saturday, so we're a day late. But I'm really focused on sharing this word with you, this short teaching today with you. And so we want to talk about purpose in ministry. And every person who has a call to vocational ministry, there is a purpose associated with it. But it's not just for those who are called to vocational ministry, which is a call from God, an invitation from the Lord Himself. Um, and vocational ministry speak to those who are in full-time ministry and lifetime ministry, those who operate in the gifts of apostle, prophet, teacher, evangelist, pastor. Um, but ministry is not exclusive to those gifts, but we all minister. We all minister to one another, and so everybody in the house ministers, or we serve. We serve according to our gifts, according to our abilities, according to our assignments. Okay, and we all can prophesy, we all can encourage, we all can exhort, and on and on and on it goes. Okay, but I want to speak about purpose in ministry, because for those who have a vocational call on your life, there is a purpose attached to your ministry. But then to you that are just operating in house ministry, you are also carrying out the purpose of God. So what does this word purpose mean? Well, purpose means that you were created for a specific reason, and then you were born. So you were created in the mind of God, and then you were born in the process of time through the womb of your mother, and you have a purpose for ministry. Now, please, I want you to understand what I'm saying is that your purpose, your life purpose is different from your ministry purpose. Okay. So I want to, although this is for everybody in the house, because really we're all supposed to minister, we're all supposed to have ministry, but I want to speak specifically to those five gifts, to the apostle, prophet, teacher, um, evangelist, and pastor. Because I think it's important that you understand that your purpose for ministry is not your purpose for life. You were actually born to have a life. You were actually born to live. You were created to live. But God also gave you a purpose for your ministry. Okay. But what often happens to persons is that you get lost in your ministry and you lose your life. And what happens when you lose your life, you lose you lose the overarching reason why you were born. You were not just born for ministry or to do ministry, but you was born to pursue life. And that's what the Lord gave us. He gave us life, okay? But you do have purpose for ministry. So unfortunately, it was late in life before I found that there was a purpose for my life. And when I was younger, in my 20s, and I was a pastor, and I was coming into the pastorate, and I had all of these dreams of having a great church, leading a great church, and being effective in ministry. Then the ministry became my life. The one thing that I never sacrificed, however, for ministry is I never sacrificed my family. Okay. Family always came before ministry for me. But then, as I said, later on, somewhere in my 40s, I began to understand that there was more to my life than just being a pastor. And then even when the Lord revealed to me that I was an apostle, there's more to my life than being an apostle, that God has given me life. Okay. So what then is purpose? Okay, because we were created and born to accomplish a specific reason. All right. There is a reason attached. You was not an accident. You were not born an accident. You were not created an accident. But there is a specific purpose, even in the time, that you was born, the timing of your birth and your life is also connected to your purpose. I was born in 1967, a very long time ago, but I was born because there is a purpose associated with the time that I am alive right now in 2023. And that is also true for you. Okay. So let's look at purpose. What then is purpose? Well, purpose starts with the Father. So our purpose is attached to our relationship and our connection with Him, because it is through Him that we get the revelation of our purpose. Okay? Now, the purpose of God for me was that I would be a preacher. That was the purpose of God, but that was only related to my ministry. Okay? And it was prophesied. My father prophesied that the Lord told him that he would have a son that would carry the gospel as he did. That was my father's desire. That was his dream and his wish, even though he didn't live to see it. He died 10 years before I entered the ministry, but he did say that, and which is an astonishing thing, because my father was a Baptist pastor. The Baptist church still doesn't operate largely in prophecy, but he said the Lord told him that, and he believed it, and he told it to others. And so part of my purpose, I was born to fulfill the desire of my father. And it was also the desire of my heavenly Father. It wasn't just the desire of my humanly father, but it was the desire of my heavenly Father that I would be a preacher. Okay. And so one of the things that happened as I developed a relationship with my heavenly Father, my earthly father died when I was 7 years old. But as I developed a relationship with my heavenly Father and I came into my teenage years, then he began to put in my heart a desire, the call to preach and to be a pastor and ultimately to be an apostle. It started with a desire in my heart when I was a child, when I was about 13 years old. So it started with desire. So when you are walking with the Father, then your purpose will often begin with a desire. Something within you is something, there's something in you that you want to do. And preaching was something that I wanted to do. And as I got older, that desire became stronger until finally in my 16th year, I submitted to the desire, recognizing that the desire was in fact a call from the Father. Okay. So all purpose starts with the Father. So we discover our purpose by walking with the Father. Remember Enoch in Genesis? Enoch is the first prophet in the scriptures. Enoch was a prophet because he walked with God. He had a relationship, an intimate relationship with the Lord. And as he walked with God, he began to prophesy. And that was the purpose of God. That was the purpose of God on his life. But also, not only did I have a desire to preach, or not only was my purpose to preach, but my purpose was also to write. I believe the writing was the larger purpose, okay, because the preaching was my ministry, but writing has been my life. And it is quite frankly how I have, through writing, through prophetic writing, through apostolic writing, and through scribal writing, I have really found my identity. I've found myself. So Bernard Bolton is a writer, and that desire to write also came through the Father. Okay, and so it would be, whereas I started preaching as a child, 17 years old, I didn't really become committed to writing until I was in my 30s. Okay, but that was the purpose of the Father, and because I was walking with Him, the revelation of those purposes began to come. Now, your purpose for ministry is also discovered in your wisdom. This is very important because without wisdom, we descend into foolishness. And this is why many people in ministry are operating foolishly, because they are not receiving the wisdom of God, or they're receiving the wisdom of the world, which is demonic. There's more than one kind of wisdom. There's the wisdom that comes from God, the wisdom of heaven, and then there is the wisdom in the earth, which is demonic and sensual. And this is why many people fall in their ministry, because they're operating in a sensual wisdom, which relies on their senses instead of relying on their spirit. So your purpose in ministry is going to be discovered through wisdom. Wisdom will keep you. Wisdom will protect you. When I was a young man in ministry, there were several times when I was being challenged in the areas of lifestyle. And was I going to walk in integrity in my ministry, or was I going to descend into debauchery and sin? And I chose because of wisdom. And here's how I operate in wisdom. Even before I started preaching, I was always a student of the word. I love the word, love going to Sunday school, love to hear my pastor preach and teach, love being in church on Wednesday night for Bible study. I loved it. Love going to the conventions. We used to have schools and our conventions. I loved attending the schools. And so I have always loved the word, and the word is the wisdom of God. And so as a teenager, as a young man becoming a man, when the challenge to be like other young men was presented to me, I chose wisdom. And basically everything that I did in ministry, I have done by the wisdom of God. I've always been a person of prayer. I've always been a person to seek the will of God. And so when you are operating in the purpose of your ministry, you will operate in the wisdom of God, and it is the wisdom of God that will keep you. The reason why we're seeing so much foolishness in the church is we have people, I believe they have legitimate calls. I believe at some point they were walking with the Father, but they have not received wisdom. They have not been students of the wisdom of God. They have not poured the word into their mind, into their hearts, into their brains. And so as a result, they don't walk in wisdom, they walk in foolishness. And one of the meanings for foolishness is immorality. A fool is an immoral person, is a person who operates in sin. And one of the challenges in the church, and this is why the church is losing its ineffectiveness, is because so many in the church don't, they they don't believe there's consequences for their actions, their sins, or anything. But we must have wisdom. Wisdom is the second reason. And in wisdom, we steward our purpose. We keep our purpose. You can maintain your lifestyle, okay, even in your relationships, in your finances, by the wisdom of the Lord. Okay. Here's the third thing. Here's the third thing. All right. Your purpose is discovered as you take on the mind of Christ. Because the mind of Christ, Paul says that we have the mind of Christ, which means that our mind can literally become his mind. His thoughts become our thoughts. His feelings become our feelings. His will or his choices become our choices. And the mind of Christ is that apostolic mind that causes us to literally begin to think, feel, and do as he does. And so as we operate in the mind of Christ, then we're at a higher level of purpose. We're at a higher level of purpose because in the mind of Christ, there is an impartation within our minds that begins to reveal to us what our purpose is, which ultimately, your purpose is not so much what you do, it's who you're becoming. Conform to the image of Jesus, becoming like Jesus. That is what the mind of Christ is all about, becoming like him. Okay, so I pray this a blessing for you. And listen, I'm a coach. One of the areas that I coach in is in ministry and the marketplace. And so if you're looking for currently a coach to help you navigate between your ministry and your place in the marketplace, which is your business or your pursuing of wealth, then contact me, reach out to me. Let's do a strategy session and we can talk about how I can help you as a coach. Now, again, as a coach, coaching is not spiritual, it's my business. But because I have 39 years of experience in ministry and I have about 15 years of experience in the marketplace, I've been able to successfully navigate between the two and to coach others and how to navigate between the two. Okay, so I look forward to talking with you. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to our channel, like the video, share it with others. Shalom.